The 6R4, four-wheel drive, non-turbocharged, with that distinctive wing set well clear of the bodywork. Austin Rover would soon have completed the 200 units required for homologation into Group B. And they anticipated by the end of the 1985 season they'd be ready to take their place in a very high... Characteristic shapes in a corner of the car park, bearing only a slight resemblance to Metros, are testament to the rather eccentric world of top-class rallying. But achieve success in that world and the car will sell itself in every continent. But Austin Rover still consider it a marketing investment. The cost of that investment can only be guessed at, but Peugeot spent well over £7 million to win the championship this year. And as a result, Peugeot reckoned their sales of the 205 increased 15%. So for Austin Rover, the car is built, the investment is made. Now it all depends on the man behind the wheel.
So Austin Rover executed a carefully planned exercise, setting up special assembly facilities at Longbridge, employing a hand-picked task force of top men to get the vital job done in time. Whilst at Coventry, an equally dedicated force built up the V6 250 horsepower engines for the Clubman's competition cars and their associated transmission units. Assembled engines and transmissions were married into the body chassis units at Longbridge. The suspensions, brakes and other components added. The planning and its implementation went impressively smoothly, and testing completed, the job was done to schedule. 200 MG Metro 6R4s were made and ready to take up the cudgels behind the world-famous Octagon. 1985, at the competition department workshops in Cowley, the developed car for the World Championship events with a very significant new feature.
Externally you won't see a great deal of difference, except the car has become slightly more angular and aerodynamic. Major revolution and change has come about because it's now got its full 380 brake horsepower engine in it, and if you want to know what the details are of that, you really ought to talk to David Wood.
David Wood explains that new engine.
Well, it might be thought we were flying in the face of convention by going normally aspirated, but we feel we've got the right answer here. The engine is a 3-litre 24-valve engine. And in form you see it here, it's producing 250 horsepower and is in fact the club engine. In the rally car that we actually rally from the works, it will be 380 to 410 horsepower, depending on the rally. The simplicity of this route means that the car has less systems to go wrong, we have less heat problems, we have a good strong torque, and very importantly we have good engine braking.
We've gone to the bigger engine, obviously, the 400-odd horsepower, and today is actually the first chance I've had to drive it on the loose, and in fact in anger. I've driven it on the road before and it felt rapid, but it's already 7 seconds quicker than we've ever been around there before with the old engine. We have learned a lot with the small engine. In fact, the V62V, the old engine, has been a terrific test bed, which is what it was designed for, and we've learned a lot from it. And it's gratifying to put the big engine in and find that what we learned still adds up.
So where do we go from here now, Tony?
Win some rallies.
Venue for the Argyle Rally, where Tony could really clear the Metro's 400 horsepower throat, put the power down and go for it. This was the acid test for which the whole enormously enthusiastic Austin Rover competitions team had been preparing themselves for so long. The chassis men, the engine and transmission designers, the aerodynamicists, development engineers, planners, administrators, the management, and of course the man who had to exploit their combined efforts, Tony Pond. Watch Tony rocket through the rugged grandeur of Rest and Be Thankful, glorying in the handling, the power, the traction, the sheer performance of the MG Metro 6R4, and see how well he did so. Straight from the press conference to announce the developed car, Tony Pond, Rob Arthur and the Metro had won the Argyle Rally very convincingly. So on the run-up to the big one, the Metro's international debut in the Lombard RAC Rally, things were looking really good. But how did the very critical and experienced Tony Pond feel the Argyle had gone?
Fairly much to order, except for a couple of routine punctures, probably self-inflicted, so that's life, isn't it?
Are you pleased with the performance of the car?
Oh yes, yeah, I think it was about 6 seconds a mile quicker than the quickest of the opposition, which is what we've got to do, really. I mean, they're the sort of times this car must do. And I should think it's got to be about 3 seconds a mile quicker than a Quattro before we'd be very happy.
So it augurs well for its big debut in international.
Yes, this week's been very good. It's done everything. I think the engine's run about 8 or 9 hours now, and I always over-rev it, so I'm pretty pleased with it.
And with the FISA inspectorate satisfied, the Clubmans and the full works cars with their 4-cam 400 horsepower engines were ready. Ready to follow in the wheel prints of their illustrious forebears, the Mini Coopers, the Austin Healys and the Triumphs. The ability to develop and hone a brilliant concept, and the enthusiasm to weld together a team of specialists to make it all work. Next they faced the ultimate challenge, the 1985 Lombard RAC Rally, which they tackled with the confidence of knowing that nothing had been left undone to ensure success. At the Nottingham scrutineering, massive enthusiasm greeted the chunky works Metros, and then supported them every inch of the way through England, Wales and Scotland. And against the Audi Quattros, the Peugeots and the Lanciers, the toughest possible international opposition, Tony Pond and Malcolm Wilson had their 6R4s up at the front right from the start. Malcolm Wilson, an inspired third in his first major rally in the Metro before he had to retire. And an equally inspired Tony Pond brilliantly contested the lead in spite of a personal battle with flu, remembering all the time that the main objective was to finish well. And finish well is just what Tony Pond, Rob Arthur and the 6R4 did. Brilliantly well. Third place in the Metro's first championship rally against the best the world could throw at them.
I'm disappointed, but I'm very happy for the car. I mean, the car was perfect. We didn't lose 1 minute, 1 second through anything wrong with the car.
Well, we've obviously got a competitive package. How about 1986?
Well, I think in World Championship terms, the car is so reliable. If we can come up with this again and continue, I mean, it's going to get in the frame on every event.
But it's not going to be easy. For next, it's the best known and most glamorous of them all, the Monte Carlo Rally, where snow and ice are the traditional going, and where victory can bring the greatest rewards of them all. It's been a long, hard struggle, but now Austin Rover are back with the certain knowledge that the MG Metro 6R4 is as good as the best, and a genuine candidate for top World Championship honours in 1986.
World. The car was built by craftsmen and would be driven by one. Tony Pond, one of the most experienced men in the whole of British motorsport, part of a team that also included another British star, Malcolm Wilson. But it was Pond who did the development, and the most satisfying way to test a car is to win rallies, which Pond did on a range of national events. The car was impossible to catch, exhilarating to drive.
Well, this is the most exciting of all the cars. It's on a different plane to a conventional car. The traction, the braking, and the things you can basically do with it. And it's completely removed. and a joy to drive.
In what respect? I mean, compare the sensation of sitting behind the wheel of that and sitting behind the wheel of a conventional road car.
Oh, well, the 400 horsepower against probably what a quick road car's got about 150. It can do 60 miles an hour in just around 3 seconds, probably a bit less than 3 seconds, and 100 miles an hour in 200 yards. That's very, very quick. In fact, when you've been away from the car and just been doing your normal motoring and get back into it, it quite frightens you the first time you unleash it again. You have to start to learn just what it can do and how quickly it can eat up a particular distance.
How do you handle that power, that performance?
Gently. You find with a supercar that if you mess around with it and play with it, it'll bite you, and you've got to take charge of it. And the only way to do that is be aggressive and get hold of it and drive it. Otherwise it will bite back. It is very, very noisy. That is the noisiest rally car I've ever sat in and ever experienced. In fact, even our intercoms that we've used in cars over the years without any problems won't work in there. It's just a different noise. Well, I'm convinced the car is a package to win the event, and that's what I expect of the car. And I would like to win the rally. If I can't win the rally, then I expect my teammate to win the rally. You know, the RAC is a big thing for us to do straight away. It's the first World Championship rally, and it's a long one. I think by the middle of next year we should have our act very much together and be coming up with some good solid performances. And I think then the true potential of the car will really shine. But it's quite capable of winning the RAC now.